I'm so grateful to be sharing this moment with you, this incredible moment where we can be ourselves. Just be authentically who you are, because you're perfect just the way you are. And we love you, and we bless you, and we behold the light in you, just the way you are. And so today, we're going to talk about our holiness. But first, who can remember what the lesson was for last week? Something about miracles.
Yeah, miracles.
Expect. She's getting close, and she wasn't even here. Oh, she watched online. Okay. That's it. I am entitled to miracles. Good job. I know a lot happens in 1 week. It's hard to remember sometime the whole thing, what was going on. So she wrote it down. I'd have to do that too. That's the only way I remember. I have to write it all down. So last week during that message, I told a couple of stories about people who had experienced miracles because they got into their consciousness that they were worthy and that they were entitled to a miracle. And one of them was our dear friend, Patricia McPartland. And she wrote me an email filling out the story for me. Because I only told it from my point of view, which is we prayed a lot for her and we expected a miracle, and she took that into her consciousness. But let me share what else she was doing, and it might inspire some of you. She said, "Dear Reverend Tony, I enjoyed the service this morning. It was of especially interest to me when you talked about my experience in intensive care a year ago. While it was true that I stated I am entitled to miracles, and having an awareness of this truth was an important contribution to my healing, it was certainly not the only thing that I did during my time in intensive care. I did not just keep saying I'm entitled to miracles 24 hours. What I did do for a few hours after your phone call was meditate on the words, I am entitled to miracles, I am worthy of miracles, and most important for me, there is only love. Realizing there is only love was especially essential for me. Once I shifted from fear and judgment and moved into a state of love, I realized healing was possible. Being an advanced student of Dr. Joe Dispenza, I also knew that awareness was just the first step. This is important because we need to practice the truth that we know. That's our fifth principle in unity. It's not enough to know the truth, we have to live it. So this is what she is sharing with us here. Awareness is just the first step, that it is essential to feel completely healed and remain in an elevated state of gratitude and love before I was actually healed. His meditations, Joe Dispenza, elevate me into a state of love and gratitude like no other. Since my hospitalization was not planned, I did not have my meditations or my phone charger with me. But the wonderful chaplain told me there was a computer in every room in the intensive care. And so just asked the nurses to type in Joe Dispenza meditations on YouTube, which I did. Every single nurse was kind enough to do that for me. Thus, for the entire time I was in intensive care, I did those meditations when I wasn't receiving care or tests. I also saw my future self walking to the ocean. And I imagined dancing at Dr. Joe retreats. In addition to my meditations and my mental picturing, Co-Heal International, a Dr. Joe group of advanced students, along with Unity, also a group of advanced healers, I will tell you, did healings for me remotely. During my entire hospital stay, as well as throughout the past year, I have spent between 4 and 5 hours a day doing these meditations and healing work. And I also continue my mental picturing of my future self. I am grateful for my many years studying the Course in Miracles, for it explained the importance of love, along with how we are so much more than our bodies. Its teachings prepared me for the quantum teachings of Dr. Joe Dispenza. The Course explained me the what, while Dr. Joe taught me the how to achieve miracles and transformation. I'm so grateful for the healing and the prayers, for your phone call, and I'm also thankful for my family, my neighbors, the Mattapoisett COA, the police, the town nurse, the home care, the visiting nurses, the occupational and physical therapists, the energy psychologists, my doctors, Wendy, Dr. Jess, Unity Radiant Light, Unity on Cape Cod, Co-Heal International, and especially my friend Jane, who moved into my home for a month to care for me and make me delicious, healthy meals. Amen. Woo! So what I got from all that is it's a process. And it takes every aspect of our being and all of our community. And what a great story. Because receiving all that love and all that support from all of the folks that you're connected to, and continuing your spiritual practice, whatever it is, hers is Dr. Joe Dispenza Meditations, and she is an advanced student with him. So, of course, she's doing that 4 to 5 hours a day. Does anyone here do anything 4 or 5 hours a day? John Rosario. Somebody said sleep. Debbie prays.
I volunteer too.
And she volunteers. So a lot of you are involved in spiritual practice. The important thing for me is to make my spiritual practice my life, to make it my lifestyle, to have a lifestyle of spiritual practice. That whatever it is, whatever path is right for you, we don't say you have to follow our path. Whatever path is right for you, follow that to its fullest. Follow that path and realize that you are not only worthy and entitled to miracles, you are the miracle. That's the important experience that happens. We can say that all day long, but until I undergo the experience of it through spiritual practice, I won't get into the feeling aspect of being the miracle. And that's one of the important things I think that Patricia was pointing out and that Joe Dispenza focuses on. You have to feel it. You have to experience it. And this is unity teaching. This really is the basis of affirmative prayer. It's not just to say it, it's to feel it and believe it. Because what we think, what we feel, and what we believe comes together in an experience. That becomes our experience of ourselves and the world. It takes all of it. The thinking, the feeling, and the believing. That's why your thoughts are what you become. But what we're learning in the modern age is our thoughts are not just what we're thinking conceptually in our head. Our thoughts are coming from our heart. Our heart is really what is running the show, or can run the show if we let it. Because it's sending a lot of information to our system, to our brain and the rest of our system. Our heart is vibrating, and it has energy, and it's sending electromagnetic signals telling us what we're experiencing, how to feel, how to respond, what's going on. So it's not actually happening in the brain. It's happening in your heart. And the heart's sending the information to the brain sends it to the rest of the body, and there you have it. It's all in communication with itself. Everything is in full communication. What we tend to do through the conceptual mind is separate everything. And then we define it. And then we think that definition is what's really going on. No! What have we been learning for so many years? Check in with your heart. That's what's really going on. And what happens inevitably is those who are vibrating on that same frequency, that same heart frequency, they join with you. They find you. You get a huge support system like our dear friend had in her healing process. And so wouldn't it be wonderful if every time we went to the hospital that we had these kind of experiences? Look at that. Those are operating room staff in Mexico doing energy work before the operation. Isn't that wonderful? So I think that should be part of every hospital procedure, is that first you get prayed over, you get the energy work, whatever you want to call it. What's happening there is they're extending their holiness. There is something flowing through me. There's something within me that is of God, of the divine nature. And it can't be corrupted. It's pure. And it's always in there. We might cover it up with a lot of other ideas. And no, it's okay that we do that, but that's not our reality. That's why I say no, it's not your reality. The uncorruptible source of you within you is your reality. And it's holy. It's wholeness. And so this is what we're sharing, whether we are Reiki masters or whether we are other types of energy healers or whether we are praying, simple faith healers, which is what I was before I learned about Reiki and all these other things. I learned that it's all one pure, uncorruptible energy. Yes, thank you. And you have it, and you are that. And everything else really will fall into service to that holiness if we let it. It's like I'm not trying to eliminate any parts of myself. I want to be authentic. I want to be Tony Be Good, you know. Even though I can't dance like I used to. I can still sing. But the most important thing for me is to realize that your holiness is there no matter what's showing up in your life. Even if it's very challenging, like an illness, or so somebody says you got to go to the hospital. Well, just imagine all these folks when they're going to meet you when you get there. The angels will be surrounding you. And I always say in my prayers, we get a lot of requests for prayers for people who are going in for operations. I say, may the angels guide the hands of the doctors and nurses while you're there. And may you feel a divine touch upon you as you are healed and flow through your healing journey. And you know what? Almost every time, I get a great report back. I think we have one sitting here today, actually. Anne-Marie, would you like to share your story very quickly with us?
Sure. I had a miracle this week because I absorbed Tony's sermon last week.
Okay, right here.
Okay. A year ago, July, I was diagnosed with a very aggressive form of squamous carcinoma, stage 3. It had entered the lymph nodes, so the prognosis wasn't good at all. So I sat here last Sunday and just absorbed the miracles. And I said, and I knew I was going to see my oncologist at Mass Eye and Ear on Tuesday. And I just said, I'm going to have a miracle. I know everything's going to be fine, and I'm going to have a miracle. And so I go for the test every 3 months. And he said, you're in remission, and it's a miracle. I wasn't even surprised to hear that. Naturally, I was very grateful to hear it. But the fact that I got through over a year he considered that a miracle. And so I just feel so blessed. And when I saw that picture over there, people praying, reminded me of my dermatologist in Florida. When he got my original diagnosis, he told me he prays 6 times a day. He did Namaste. he said, I will pray for you 6 times a day. And I will be seeing him again shortly, probably in a month, and make sure he's still praying. Thank you.
Thank you, sweetie. Thank you. Awesome. I love it. So as a minister, I am blessed to get these kinds of reports all the time. I get a lot of requests for prayer, but I get almost as many wonderful testimonials of the miracles. And he actually said miracle. He said that word.
Yes.
So when the doctors are using the word miracle, you know it's really happening. You know that they're including their divine source in the healing. That it's not just science, but it's perhaps a deeper science. A science of the divine. And that's really what I love to share with everyone. So thank you, Anne-Marie. I'm so grateful for your healing.
I'd like to share something, too.
And Christine has another testimonial.
I've had a miracle before. I won't bore you with that now. I'll talk to you later about that. But I just want to mention I want to clap for Anne-Marie. When I fractured my wrist last year, I couldn't do anything because I'm right-handed, whatever. She came over and made dinner for me almost every night. She brought dinner over to me. So now I'm saying you.
Thank you. Thank you. So did you catch that? Christine broke her wrist on our first Walking in the Spirit. So the miracle for me was that she didn't hold it against us. Because I was tempted to feel guilty about that one. Our very first Walking in the Spirit together. But Anne-Marie, even though she was going through her own health challenges, brought meals over to Christine every single day.
Yeah.
And I hear she's a good cook, too. So hopefully, don't go out and break your wrist to get a meal from Anne-Marie. We'll have a potluck instead. How about that? We'll do that. So back to our holiness. I'm really excited about this. Holy, how did I get there? From Webster's dictionary, holy is spiritually whole or of unimpaired innocence. Isn't that nice? Unimpaired innocence. Just take that in for a moment. Get in touch with my unimpaired innocence. No matter what I have done or said in the past, it has not impaired my innocence. Amazing. And so that makes me whole or holy. Holy is also wholeness. Wholeness in spirit, mind, and body. This is from the Revealing Word. Wholeness is another word for holiness. When I am in the experience, not just the awareness, but awareness and experience of my wholeness. Wholeness in body. I'm healthy. I'm vibrant. I'm moving through the world in a healthy body. But also wholeness of mind. I am coherent. I am focused. I can think and manifest through divine thinking. Wholeness of spirit. I am the spirit that is walking through this being right here. So in touch with the spirit. Wholeness of spirit means that I am claiming my God self, my Christ self. And it takes all three of these to understand through experience that my innocence has been unimpaired. And now it's taking the lead, the predominant role in my life, my innocence. I love that holiness is not some big, made up, puffed up ego concept. It's innocence, except you be like little children. So, in our traditional religions, we used to use this idea of communion. I believe, and through my study with the Fillmores, that we need a connection. We need communion with the divine to experience our holiness, our wholeness. And so we can use wholeness to describe holiness. Holiness of body, mind, and spirit. Traditionally, that communion took place through the ritual of taking of the bread and the wine. So I looked up in the Revealing Word what all this means. Metaphysically, bread typifies the substance of a body of spiritual or divine ideas. It's the substance of all the divine ideas in one. That's the bread, or the true substance of truth. It's a body of divine ideas. It's, of course, going to be represented in your body, mind, and spirit as you accept your holiness as Jesus did. But it's more than just showing up in the body. It's a body of ideas. It contains all the divine ideas in the universe. And the wine symbolizes the circulation of these ideas, the flow. So we're circulating divine ideas in our consciousness and in our collective consciousness, which I feel is the most important thing as a spiritual teacher and having a spiritual center here where we all can come and experience the circulation, the flow of these divine ideas. And that brings us into spiritual communion. It's not just a ritual or a practice, it becomes a true way of life, of how we create community, how we celebrate love, how our lives are transformed. It's through communion. And I commune with the divine when I join with you in your divinity, when I join with you in your innocence. So our holiness, blessing the world, is our unimpaired innocence in communion with all there is, with each other and with the whole universe. Our holiness is that we are communing in this unimpaired innocence. It's a dynamic interface between creator and created. We're no longer separate. We're flowing into the realm of all possibility and manifesting it here. We're flowing into that realm and bringing it back into manifestation here. That's how those healings occur. Because in the realm of truth, in the realm of divine perfection, there is no illness. There is nothing that's not perfect. There is no lack of love. There is no darkness. It is all one beautiful light extending to itself forever and ever. And we know this to be true because we talk about it all the time. We talk about heaven. We talk about nirvana. We talk about all of these beautiful states. But we talk about them as concepts, and we stay in our pain, and we stay in our judgment of one another, and we stay in our lack and limitation. We don't experience that. Why? Because we think it's separate from us. We just hold it as a concept or a possibility, perhaps, after I die. If I'm good enough, and I go to communion every week. No, are you in communion now? Interface with the Creator. Are you in communication with the Creator? Are you practicing 4 to 5 hours a day, or even 4 to 5 minutes a day, I would take from some folks? Some days I go, great, I got that 5 minutes in. Wow, thank you for that 5 minutes. But if you can stretch it to 4 to 5 hours, some miraculous things might happen. John's going, yeah, that's what I do. Every day, every time I see John, I say, how's it going? He says, the magnificence continues. Like he's just blown away every day, at the adventure of life. And I want everyone to feel that. I want everyone to feel just completely in awe of life itself and of you, your own holiness, your own power and perfection. I want you to be in awe of that. It's very humbling. It's the opposite of arrogance. when you realize that you're holy. Because now the work begins. Now the work begins where you have to share it with the world. Oh, I like that. Woo. I don't have my lessons of the Course in Miracles with me. Could somebody go in my office and reach into my computer bag and pull out this little book? It's called I Am Sustained by the Love of God. Because that's what sustains me. And the lessons that I'm going to read from are, my holiness blesses the world. There is nothing my holiness cannot do. So whenever you come up against a really challenging situation in your life, then your holiness is the thing that's going to see you through. Your wholeness. Thank you, sweetie. Excellent. This is the Reader's Digest version of A Course in Miracles. Somebody said, I can't read that book. It's too thick. It's too many words. I got this one for you. It's the review lessons of the first 50 workbook lessons. And if you turn to this first one that I'm going to read, lesson 37, it says, my holiness blesses the world. The perception of my holiness does not bless me alone. Everyone and everything I see in its light shares in the joy that it brings to me. Now, didn't you feel joy when you heard about Patricia's healing? Didn't you feel joy when you heard about Anne-Marie being healed? Don't you feel joy when somebody says, wow, I've had an incredible financial uptick and my life is more comfortable now. I'm doing exactly what I want in life and I'm getting paid for it. That's always a big surprise for those of us who were taught to sacrifice. No, I'm doing exactly what I want to do and what I'm good at doing, and I'm getting paid well to do it. That should be everyone's situation in this world. I'm happy, healthy, whole, abundant, and free. Aren't you happy to hear that? Yes, so my blessings are blessing you as well. The joy that it brings to me is shared with everyone and everything. There is nothing that is apart from this joy because there is nothing that does not share my holiness. As I recognize my holiness, so does the holiness of the world shine forth for everyone to see. The holiness of that flower, the holiness of that bird, the holiness of the ocean, the holiness of that tree. It shines forth now. I can see it. I can feel it. And so can everyone who's with me. I went for a walk on the beach with Stowe Good when they were here a couple of weeks ago. And every time I'd stop and just take in the ocean, I noticed that Karen Taylor Good was stopping and taking in the ocean and experiencing it. And every time I saw her do it, it kind of motivated me to stop and do it. Every time I saw someone pick up a shell on the beach, I wanted to see what was in it. What are they finding? Wow. And I would experience the holiness of the shells on the beach. I would experience that because I was curious what they were experiencing. So this is an incredible communication that goes on vibrationally, that you don't have to say any words, that you can feel and experience what others are feeling, and they will experience your joy. And in this, there's nothing my holiness cannot do. This is not going to be a 20-minute message today, guys. Okay, my holiness is unlimited in its power to heal. Oh my goodness, unlimited in its power to heal. Did you see those folks doing the energy work in the operating room? They were doing the healing. The operation was just probably the second part of it. The real healing already was taking place because their holiness was being extended. It's unlimited in its power to save. And what is there to be saved from except illusions? And what are illusions except false ideas about myself? My holiness undoes them all by asserting the truth about me. In the presence of my holiness, which I share with God herself, all idols vanish. Idols vanish. That's what I've given the power. Instead of looking within for the power, I've given power to things outside of myself. Those are idols. But when I recognize my holiness that I share with God, all idols vanish. So, my holiness now is going to envelop everything I see. Oh, that's a good one. From my holiness does the perception of the real world come. Having forgiven, I no longer see myself as guilty. I can accept the innocence, we talked about that earlier, that is the truth about me. The unimpaired innocence. That is the truth about me. And so seen through understanding eyes, the holiness of the world is all I see. For I can perceive only the thoughts I hold about myself. And then, now, okay, write that down and put it on your refrigerator. I can picture only the thoughts I hold about myself. However you feel about yourself, that's what you're going to see out there. So, that leads us to, my mind is part of God's. I'm very holy. Oh, my mind is part of God's. I am holy. I am innocent. I am magnificent. I am free. I am power. I am peace. I am joy. I am love. I am those things. They're not things that I go out and try to get. That's what I am. And I believe this is the power of the spoken word, is to keep reminding ourselves of what we truly are. As I share the peace of the world with my brothers and sisters, I begin to understand that this peace comes from deep within myself. The world that I look upon has taken on the light of my forgiveness, and it shines forgiveness back at me. In this light, I begin to see what my illusions about myself kept hidden. I begin to understand the holiness of all living things, including myself, and their oneness with me. These are lessons from A Course in Miracles, reminding us about our innocence, about our holiness, our unimpaired, impossible to corrupt innocence. The deep truth about you is that you are holy, that you are perfect, that you are free. You're free to create your own reality. But your true reality is innocence. Your true reality is in God. Your true reality is light. And so you're free to create that as well. You're free to experience that. But you have to put in the work. You know, as Patricia pointed out in her email, is that she did a lot of work on her own, doing her meditations and focusing on the truth and feeling the truth and visualizing herself healed, until finally it all came together. Accepting the help that is given you is also an important factor, because there's a lot of help all around you. But the truth is that you were born to be a blessing to this world. That this is why you're here. And you're perfect just the way you are. You are absolutely perfect just the way you're showing up right here and right now. You don't have to change a thing. Just accept who you truly are. Remember that you were born into this life to be a blessing and to be blessed. So as I always say, be blessed, my friends, and remember to be a blessing.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass. and visit us online at unityoncapecod.org. This video was made possible in part through a grant from Unity Worldwide Ministries and the Templeton Foundation.